right, we're in good shape. This is how my staff takes care of me. I got 2 copies of this speech, so. It is an election year. You might get both of them. I'd like to thank all of you for coming today and the Way Park Chamber of Commerce for sponsoring this event. I'd also like to acknowledge members of our City Council, including Frank Tyson, Mike Lindquist, Chuck Schneider, and Vic Schultz. As we begin 2018, we remain committed to you, our community, in providing a high level of services in the most effective and efficient manner possible. With an emphasis in 2018 of investing in today for tomorrow, we have 5 areas of focus that we believe will carry us forward long into our future. These priorities include technology, legislative, economic development, public safety, and public infrastructure. With the world of technology always changing, we find ourselves at the city trying to continue to be innovative, but sometimes find ourselves staring into the computer screen like this, wondering what we may need to upgrade next. Like many of you, technology impacts every level of service our community provides, and the demand to make improvements continue. It provides many opportunities for us to be more innovative, but it requires change in our processes, and it means that the status quo of providing services the same way we have always done them is no longer an option. As we look to 2018 and beyond, we plan to continue to enhance our social media presence through Facebook and Twitter. These are our opportunities for telling our story about our community. No matter what area of public sector we're in, the people we serve are on social media. It is our connection to many of our residents and businesses who otherwise don't have the opportunity to meet with us face to face. If we want to make the public aware of new legislation, promote a cause, or just inform citizens of important news, social media is the best place to do it. We continue to be committed to enhancing our social media presence. The city has also made a significant investment into upgrading our financial system, and will be converting this new system beginning this spring. This system is really the foundation of all services the city offers. This upgrade will impact essentially every service provided by the city, including utility billing, business licensing, payroll, finance, accounts payable and receivable, and more. This upgrade will give the city an opportunity to also create online billing and payments. The entire conversion will take about a year to complete, and we look forward to offering more automated and online services in our community. 2017 also brought some technology improvements to our council chambers and to our council broadcasting system. These improvements included audio and visual improvements as well as security enhancements. This provides for a better experience for those listening to meetings on the broadcast system as well as those attending the meeting. 2018 is a year where being actively involved in the legislative process will be important for our community. Maintaining local control will be one of those areas of focus. We see many bills introduced that restrict local decision-making both at the state and federal level. For us, we believe that decisions affecting local governments are best made at the local level that is closest to the people. In 2017, there were over 24 bills introduced at the state legislature that impacted our local authority, many of which didn't provide us with any input into the decision impacting us and having a cost impact to our budgets. We will work with our League of Minnesota Cities to address our concerns, making legislators aware of the impact of their decisions. Our goal for 2018 legislative session will be focused on securing funding for our amphitheater. We are very excited about this opportunity and believe that this project will be a great asset for our community and the region. The total project cost is estimated at $12.3 million, and we are seeking $5 million in state funds. The project is located on the former transformer quarry site that was donated by Martin Marietta. We often refer to this property as Way Park's hidden jewel because of its unique characteristics and setting. It is located just off of Highway 23 and has 2 quarries on the site that make it a perfect venue for our amphitheater. The city has spent the last 2 years planning for this project and making sure that this site can accommodate an amphitheater. Through these planning efforts, we are proposing to build a 4,000 to 5,000 seat multi-purpose outdoor amphitheater that will host both national and local entertainment venues. Our project will preserve the natural character of the site and will create a unique recreation destination for all of central Minnesota area to enjoy. Our goal with this project will be to make this the best amphitheater in Minnesota. With the assistance of our legislature, this project could begin construction this summer and have an opening in the spring of 2020. The amphitheater project has so many benefits to our community beyond recreation. It will create a destination place for our growing diverse community to gather, and it will create many economic development opportunities, drawing over 80,000 visitors a year. These visitors will be staying, shopping, and eating in our local establishments, benefiting our community for years to come. With that, I will turn this over to John, who will highlight our economic development priorities for 2018 and highlighting many of the 2017 projects that we are investing in today and for tomorrow.
Thank you, Mayor Miller. I didn't trip on the way up, so we're off to a good start. As Mayor Miller mentioned, my name is John Nurnberg. I am the Planning and Community Development Director for the City of Wade Park. This is coming on my third year with the city, and I can say with absolute certainty that time has flown. I'm a little grayer as well. I don't know whether to attribute that to the work or having a toddler at home or some combination. Today I'll run through, as Mayor Miller mentioned, some development project highlights, a little information on plans we have for the coming year, year or two actually, and touch on some city beautification efforts. And the city beautification angle is something that's more of a collaborative effort that's not solely within the realm of community development, but is more of an all-encompassing effort between city departments. Some development highlights for the past year. We have had quite a bit of construction and filling of tenant spaces in the past year. We didn't see quite the level of actual construction activity that we saw in the year prior. However, the Silverleaf Hotel project has really taken off, and as that's gotten up and moving, it's going faster and faster, it seems. As of today, you can see the exterior finish is starting to come together, and that project is on track to have the first hotels open this year. I expect on a staff level that will probably spur some redevelopment in the coming years in the First Street South area. I note the picture to the right of the hotel, Fins and Friends. That's actually at the Third Street South multi-tenant building, formerly where Hobby Town was located in that general area. I note this because it's kind of an under the radar sort of thing that a lot of cities forget to mention, that filling of smaller tenant spaces, existing spaces, is really vital to the livelihood of and economic success of cities. You know, we focus a lot on large scale development, which is great, but the existing facilities, the existing buildings, and having tenants in them also supports in its own right really a interesting blend of businesses and tenants. In Wade Park, I think we've been fortunate that we've had a lot of homegrown businesses that have opted to stay in Wade Park as they've grown and expanded beyond existing facilities. And I just wanted to highlight this, that not every business development has to be a really big, shiny new development. Those are great, but there's a lot of room for small businesses that are taking over existing tenant spaces as well. Likewise, the Gander Mountain, you wouldn't think it's really prudent to highlight a picture that says going out of business as a development highlight for the year. However, this again creates opportunity, and right now, we're coordinating with the owners of that building when potential options come up for getting someone else in there or looking at a reuse for the building. We've been fortunate in some of our typically what are called big box stores to see redevelopment occur in a relatively short time frame. Excuse me. And I'm hoping that we'll see the same for Gander Mountain. Unfortunately, this is not one of the locations that was slated to reopen as a Gander Outdoors, kind of the reformatted, rebranded Gander Mountain variation, but I'm hopeful that in the coming year we will see something happen with this business. The development picture with the development for sale sign noted, I included that to just outline that we do have quite a bit of available land within the city. Recently with the annexation, we've had new areas of opportunity open up, and we have been fielding some inquiries from potential developers into these areas, and we could continue to coordinate with landowners and developers and the commercial real estate folks as opportunities arise. This also dovetails with some of our zoning updates and taking a step back and looking at our long-range comprehensive plans for the coming years over the course of 2018 and likely into 2019, but I'll touch on that in just a moment. The lower left, that is a rendering of Windsor Green Villas, which is a 62-unit, larger, senior-oriented apartment development just behind the area of Fresh Time and Dick's Sporting Goods. This works nicely with the existing patio home development in that area, and really gives a kind of a view of the housing demand that the city is seeing, focusing on our senior population that really drives a lot of the residential development that we see in the city. Lastly, the Quick Trip, that is an area, and this particular Quick Trip is on Great Oak Drive, an area that we've seen infill nicely over the past couple of years. I don't believe there's maybe but one or two commercial lots left in that area. We've had a number of businesses expand into that area, and it's become quite a nice commercial retail park. You'll note the cartoon up on the screen. People think that city planners and community development folks don't have a sense of humor. A lot of the times we don't. But I do want to recognize that if you've ever had to speak with me, or you know anyone that's ever had to speak with a city planner or someone in the building official side of things, the rules are admittedly obtuse and they can be difficult to work through, but we do have staff on hand at the City of Waite Park, myself and our building official and our inspectors that I feel are pretty adept at working with people through what are typically pretty complex and can be costly situations. But we do have a pretty strong sense of pride in trying to be easy to work with for folks, even if we can't always give you the answer that says yes. Looking at the zoning update that's listed, as I mentioned, we will be looking at updating our comprehensive plan in the coming year. Comprehensive plan is typically the long-range plan of the city. Our existing comprehensive plan dates back to the mid-2000s, and it is something that is time to be updated. When we are getting requests in the outlying areas of town, we're taking a step back looking, well, is that really what we see is still the best for this area? I think stepping back and updating the comprehensive plan would give us a fresh start as we see expansion into the outlying areas of the community and really improve our long-term development options. Second listed, the solar and wind moratorium. Recently, the city council passed a request submitted by myself to establish a pause moratorium, being a temporary pause on any new development of solar or wind renewable development, renewable energy developments. I just want to be clear that I don't believe that solar or wind facilities are a bad thing. However, just by the particular makeup of the city of Waite Park, the existing land that is available in the western area of the city, and the proximity of these areas to a power company substation, we were getting what I believe may be more than our fair share of solar development. And I just wanted to ensure that this isn't necessarily hindering the long-term growth potential of the city. I believe that the solar and the wind does have its place, but we want to be sure that we're treating it in the best possible way, and our current ordinance isn't really well equipped to do that because it was established at a time before these really were an option. So over the coming months, I will be taking a look at updating our ordinance to reflect maybe some standards by which we can review these requests by and give a little more guidance to their locations. Lastly, on the economic development side, we worked with the St. Cloud State University folks in the economics and urban planning side of things to perform a kind of an interesting study that's unique in the realm of city planning that really looked at land use for the long term and compared it with the economic realities of kind of the current climate and helped give us some guidance as to what might be good options for the city to focus on in the coming years. This is not a comprehensive plan per se, but more of a kind of an independent study that I think, again, dovetails pretty nicely with what we'll be looking at doing in the coming year or two as we move to update the comprehensive plan. In the city beautification side, the St. Cloud State University land use study I just mentioned, it listed city beautification as a priority among residents of Waite Park. And that's why it's something we've really taken upon ourselves in the past year, and we'll continue to do that in the coming year or years to really brand the city. You've seen our updated logos, our tagline, "Where Minnesota Connects." That tagline was boiled down from a lot of concepts and a lot of discussion, and it's amazing how you try to get a three-letter or three-word tagline and how much discussion and planning goes into establishing it. We're still in the process of implementing the city brand and the logo throughout the community. You're seeing it on updated street signs, updated facilities. City Hall recently had the new signage installed. And we're going to be continuing to add those through signage on other city facilities, the water towers, which our Public Works Director will discuss shortly, the city flags, city vehicle signage, and as well as our promotional material. We also intend on adding to work on adding entrance signs, banners, and park signs in the community. We want people to know when they're entering Waite Park, even though it can be a challenge for anyone from out of town. Once you cross that line, we want you to know that you're in a different community that has its own sense of pride and sense of place, rather than just being an offshoot of a neighboring community. We're also working on adding additional landscape enhancements along our public streets and parks with the help of the volunteers with the Flowers for Waite Park, which do a phenomenal job of helping us keep up on all the flowers and the beautification efforts that everyone can see. Our goal is to continue to find ways where we can to define the community through the visual elements being added throughout the community. I will now turn it over to Police Chief Dave Bentrude.
Hi, everybody. Again, Dave Bentrude, I'm Police Chief in Waite Park, and I'm going to give briefly a public safety update as far as the city. Our Fire Chief, Jim Elshire, could not be here today, so I'm going to cover things for him a little bit as well. As far as the police department is concerned, I believe and I hold that Waite Park remains a very safe place to live, work, and have fun. Our calls for service between last year and the year before, last year we were down like a total of 5 calls, so not a big change for us. In Waite Park, we really don't have a seasonal fluctuation. If we have a busy month, it's probably July, but calls for service remain pretty steady for us throughout the year. As far as clearance rates are concerned, that's something that's been talked a lot about. Our clearance rates remain strong in Waite Park. Statewide average for Part 1 crimes, which tends to be the more serious crimes, serious person crimes and high-level property crimes. Our clearance rates are at 63%. Statewide average is about 29%. And there's, of course, you'd like to have it 100%. There's a lot of reasons why. Maybe it's not. And I can certainly talk to you about that, if you were curious. 80% clearance rates on Part 2, which is kind of everything else. So our officers and our staff does a pretty good job. One number that I was a little shocked when I saw and rather proud of is the cases that we send to the county attorney's office. Under 10% there's no action taken. And that is by far the lowest. In this case, low is good. We've been the lowest the last 10 years. And that's a tribute to our staff. It's the officers responding and the initial report that they take. It speaks well of the follow-up investigation that our officers do, and the work that our records does in compiling a case for court. And so I'm very proud of the staff that we have at Waite Park. They do a great job when it comes to clearing cases and reporting things. In 2017, We deployed body-worn cameras, and we started using smartphone technology. We use smartphones now to take pictures and video at crime scenes. We use our smartphones to take statements from victims, witnesses, et cetera. Combined with the body cameras, we were the first agency in central Minnesota to deploy body cameras in the field, and it makes for a great way to build and present cases to court. A lot of times when officers would bring information into court and say what happened, now we can show judges and juries exactly what happened. And we found that to be a great resource for our department. We have 2 new officers. Our authorized strength now is 18 full-time officers. And again, that kind of speaks to most towns of the 8,000 population don't need 18 police officers. But it speaks to the, right now, the population in Waite Park with business, commuting, and whatnot is probably 25 or 30,000. And that's what we end up providing public safety to is a larger population than maybe just our resident population. Community outreach remains a big part of at least my philosophy for the department and my staff. We've done a lot of things in that regard. Our summer youth soccer program this summer is going to be our year 2, and we have an Adam Holm from the school district is a big advocate for what we're trying to do. From our experience, there hasn't been a lot of youth activities on the west end. A lot of it's at Sulky Field or up at Whitney, and so we're trying to provide some activities for our kids to keep them busy here in the Waite Park area. Our senior center is growing and thriving. Dine and Dialogue events and coffee talk events. Dine and Dialogue was an outreach to the Somali community. Unite to Unite, of course. Our Metro Citizen Police Academy. I don't know, anyone been through our academy before? Anybody here? It's a couple of you. I see one hand back there. It's a great event. It's not too early. We're going to start taking applications for this fall. So if you have any interest at all in learning more about what police officers do and why we do it, our Metro Citizen Police Academy is a great way to do that. We started doing active shooter threat training with area businesses, and this was tight before what happened in Florida, but which is obviously a very tragic thing, but that has been something that we offer area businesses, how to be safe in the unfortunate event of some kind of active threat or active shooter situation. And we're working very closely with other disciplines when it comes to our mental health crisis response initiatives, in meetings regularly with Centricare, County Attorney's Office, Central Minnesota Mental Health Center, other law enforcement agencies, trying to figure out how we can better respond to mental health crisis situations. In my career, it goes 26 years now, I'm seeing more and more of it. I'm seeing the effects of mental health in kids younger, and it's concerning, and we need to figure out a way to respond to that. So we've started a lot of initiatives, and we're going to continue that as we move forward. Looking ahead, real briefly, many of you know Alicia Magas. We recently changed her job title from Community Service Officer to Community Outreach Specialist, and she does a lot of the stuff that was on the slide before. That's going to allow us to hire a part-time community service officer that will be out maybe doing a little parking enforcement, handicap parking, and some of those things that maybe a little can help supplement what the patrol officers are doing. The Central Minnesota Human Trafficking Investigative Task Force, which is something that Waite Park has kind of taken a lead in this area when it comes to sex trafficking. We were able to secure a state grant that is allowing us to assign a Waite Park officer, investigator, and a St. Cloud investigator, St. Cloud PD, full-time to sex trafficking investigations. And you wouldn't think, again, I talk about this all the time, this is Central Minnesota. Most people are like, what? Sex, prostitution? It's a big issue, trust me. And you're gonna see that. We've got a lot of education that we're going to be trying to do in this area, but it's a significant problem. We also were able to assist Terabith Refuge in developing their safe house for trafficked women. There are 2 things that we saw. One, we needed to get more investigative resources assigned to the problem. We've done that, thanks to a state grant, and also to provide victim support. And the city stepped up We had a property that's been vacant for a couple years. It was acquired because of a road project in town. And the city council, Mayor Miller, agreed to allow Terabith to use that property for at least 2 years, rent-free. We can't charge rent based on how it was acquired. So it's a great opportunity for us to be able to provide crisis housing for women who are being trafficked and to help get them out of the lifestyle. So again, it's kind of neat how this has all come together, the grant funding and the safe house, and all at the same time. So, and Way Park has been a leader in this area, which really is a central Minnesota problem. Last couple years, 172 calls, fire calls. They recently purchased a new fire truck that seats up to 6 firefighters. They are set up for urban, rural firefighting as well as rescue. And with the hotel project now, you know, Way Park actually has a skyline now. So this new fire truck can handle that, those higher, taller structures. We have the ability now to develop burning permits online. So if you need to burn brush or whatever, check that out. And also, some things that Jim wanted me to share with you as far as the year ahead and some of the things. False alarm calls are a big problem. Our fire guys are responding to a lot of false alarms. Of course, that means that firefighters are probably maybe leaving their work to respond to what really is not a real call. And we want to try to come up with some ways to maybe address that issue, maybe in the enforcement side of things. Do more fire inspections to maintain the safety there. And as always, Jim wanted me to share that the need for more volunteer firefighters is always there. And if you are interested or you know somebody that's interested, the fire department does need to add some staff on the volunteer fire department side. So check that out as well. And I believe that is it for me. I'm going to turn it over to Bill Schloons in Public Works.
Well, good afternoon. I'm going to talk about infrastructure, usually not a glamorous subject. We're talking about pipes and roads and stuff like that, but actually today we're going to talk about a little bit more of the glamour that we're looking forward to here in the next year and what was been done. So we'll talk a little bit about parks and trails, some water towers, and street and alley improvements. So the first one is, and I've talked to you past few years about the 3 years that we've been working on a new public works facility. A couple of years on going out and doing some site tour visits to see what we wanted to do, a year of design, and a year of construction. And I'm here to let you know that we moved in August of this year, and we're still moving in. Try to imagine moving your wood shop or your mechanic shop, multiply it times 25, and then move it in a new facility and keep working while you're doing it. So, but I am also here to announce, if you want to mark your calendars, April 19th, Thursday, we are going to have our open house for the community and the residents to come see our new facility and show it off. It's a great facility. I can't thank the council for helping us through this and building a facility that's going to last us now and well into the future. The exact time and all the details will be coming out in the near future on that. Parks and trails. So River's Edge Park, we are continuing and hope to maybe this year do some more work down there yet. That will be determined in the next coming months. But Lake Wobegon Trail is the part that's extending from River's Edge Park across the Sauk River into St. Joe. That received a grant from the state, and they actually set the bridge going across the Sauk River last week. We hope to have that thing open for everybody towards late spring, early summer. I don't know the exact date yet, but that is coming, and it'll be a great for everybody so that you could ride the trail basically from Waite Park all the way up to Alexandria, wherever you want to go. It branches off to Holdingford, and so it's a great connection. Pickleball courts were finished last year. They're down in River's Edge Park. It's great to see how many people are using it. I know there's a few people here in the audience that are avid daily visitors down there. And it was kind of neat during the Family Fun Fest. They actually put together, they volunteered down there to show everybody how to play the game, gave them some paddles and balls, and kind of coached them on it and trying to increase that. And then lastly, in the bottom lower right there, you'll see a picture. It's kind of hard to see, but it's called a fitness court. The city was lucky enough to gain a grant to build one of these. This will be placed in 3rd Street Trail, kind of down across from where McKinley School is. And it's a big pad, about 40 by 40, and it's got a number of different types of exercise stations, including a back wall, and it's all non-moving parts. It's similar to what we have on the trail as individual stations, but this is more set up for if you're gonna go out and you wanna take a jog, you could stop there, do a 10-15 minute workout. It shows you how to do each thing, and then off you go again. So construction will be on that this summer. I can't give you the exact date, but hope to have everything done and running by sometime towards late summer. Water towers, we are planning, and we'll start here sometime probably April, May, repainting the 10th Avenue or Smiley Water Tower. And then on 13th Avenue's tower, that will get repainted in 2020. You'll also see in the big picture there the new city logo, as John was talking about, and our theme is beautification, rebranding. That's what the water tower will look like. And then lastly, it's street and alley improvements. Again, the non-glamorous part of today's speech, but it's an important one. Over the last year, I've been working, trying to put together a 20-year plan for the community and for the council to look at and understand. Our roads, we don't have any bridges, thank God, but we do have a lot of roads, and they do get beat up. As Dave said, our town raises 25,000 to 30,000 population a day. So those trucks and those visitors do degrade our roads faster than a normal community. So I've tried to put together a plan of what it would cost to replace all these roads in a 20-year cycle. You know, still doing some fine tuning, but right now it looks like it's going to cost the city about $1 million to 1.3 in today's dollars. Obviously, if you put cost of inflation 20 years out, that number is going to grow dramatically. But the city is committed to looking at that and trying to find the funding sources to be able to maintain our roads and to keep them up. Just for information, some of the projects this year that we've got on the list is 13th Avenue in front of City Hall and Community Park, 1st Street North over here by the nursing home, just around the corner. 6th Avenue South from Division to Highway 23 will be done this year. And then Old Highway Road North out in the newly annexed area, if you're familiar with the old Anderson trucking site out there. Those are some of the projects that we're looking at doing for street improvements for the next year. So other than that, I have nothing else. I will ask the mayor to come back up, and I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
As you can see, 2018 will remain a year where we are dedicated to our community. Our success is not attributed to one person. It is a result of good work and intentions of many. This includes my partners in elected office, our great volunteers, our city department heads, officers, staff, and the public. Whether it is residents, business owners, or volunteers, I am extremely thankful to all of you who have participated in the past and look forward to your continued efforts in the years to follow. We are a city that has been thinking smarter, proactively, and successfully setting priorities, knowing the importance of investing in today for tomorrow. Thank you for your time today. We appreciate the Chamber of Commerce and Falcon National Bank for sponsoring this event. And I will say, this is the first time I think I got paid.